Welcome back, everybody, to Rantpocalypse Talks The Walking Dead. I'm Justin.
Hey, I'm Kelly, and we are a mother and son team.
Wow. Good Lord, can you get any worse of an introduction by
No, I
my
can't.
mom?
I can't.
We
Yeah.
are a mother, and I guess you're my son,
Son.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
We're a team. We're a team.
we make YouTube videos that we like to do because
Yeah.
we just like to put ourselves out there, I guess. I don't know, for people to
Yes,
ridicule and talk
exactly.
shit about on the
Exactly.
interwebs.
Hey, I did get a proposal earlier tonight, though,
That
so, it hasn't
yeah.
been a horrible night.
Yeah, you're getting good stuff. I'm getting people to tell me that they're unsubscribing because of my videos. People are just mean. But we're here to talk about The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 6, entitled Swear. This is the episode that is going to either bring the viewers back in or drive the viewers farther away from The Walking Dead, or just allow the viewers to hate watch The Walking Dead
I
even
know.
more,
I know.
because this season has been really rough when it comes to critical reviews of the
Yes.
show. Not a lot of favorable reviews, lots of talk about how the ratings are just going down the toilet.
Have you seen what the numbers were for this one yet?
No, no, I haven't seen what the numbers were for this one, but I know last week's episode was the lowest rated episode since season 3 of The
Hmm.
Walking Dead, which is really, really bad because season 3 was when the show was starting to ramp up and start to get the huge, ginormous numbers that we
Yeah.
know of The Walking Dead,
Right.
the 14, 15, 17 million viewers. And I'm afraid that this episode it was not going to do it. I just want to say right off the bat, because we'll get into our thoughts on the episode overall. But I do kind of want to call out The Walking Dead on this, where they did where they did a trailer for the weeks to come. This is something
Yeah.
that we've seen the Westworld show do a whole lot lately, where you never really know if the stuff that you see on that weeks to come is coming in the next week's
Right.
episode, or is it coming like 2 to 3,
By the end of the
maybe
season.
maybe that by the end of the season. And the reason why Westworld does it is to throw the viewers off, because that show is all about making you think about what you just saw. Is this reality? Is it not reality? And playing with time frames and timelines. The Walking Dead is not so much that. And whenever they put out that weeks to come episode 6 through 8, and it really, really focused in on Negan and Rick and lots of crazy action, and they didn't really show much at all about this episode, I felt like that was them saying, "Oh
Oops.
shit,
This is not going to be the best one.
we've been in like a ratings just downturn, and
Hmm.
now we're gonna have an episode focused on a character that we haven't seen in, let's just say, if it was just season 7, we haven't seen this character in 6 weeks.
Right.
But then you've got to add on that we hadn't seen this character since, I believe, episode 13 or 14 last season. I think it was episode, because we know Daryl got shot in episode 15 at the very end. And I think it was episode 14 is when Denise got killed. So I think it was episode
Yeah.
13, the
Yeah.
last time that we saw Tara or Heath. I don't really agree with their strategy of how they've been doing the episodes. I'm not a big fan of completely splitting up these storylines. They need to start converging, which I hope that by the end of this episode, we've met another community. We brought another bunch of characters into the fold.
I don't.
It's time to mix them up.
Right. But I don't think that these characters, I'm assuming that they're not going to be part of the story continuing forward.
I hope so. I don't want The Walking Dead to continue to do that, where they introduce these cool new characters,
Hmm.
these cool new settings, and they never revisit them. I think that that's a mistake on their part, to not explore this. If you've introduced these people, I think that The Walking Dead, if they don't do anything right, the one thing that they definitely do right is introduce new characters and make us like them almost immediately.
Right.
That is a testament to their writing ability, in my
Hmm.
opinion, to bring in new characters like that we can relate to, that we like. I mean, the Cindy character, I love her
Oh, I
already. I,
know.
I,
Me too.
I want her on the show.
Hmm.
Eastman in last season, loved Eastman's character. He
Hmm.
was so awesome. Now I understand why he was only going to be around for one episode, and it served the story of
Right.
Morgan
Right.
perfectly. But they've done that where they've introduced characters. I think the reason why in my mind, in a lot of the fans' minds, that this seems to be something that they do is because I keep comparing them with Fear the Walking Dead.
Well, when I think about that whole, what was it, 30 seconds for every episode on the airplane, and
Yeah,
we had a character introduced that we thought we were going to like, and they had her in the show for, I don't know, part of an episode, and then she disappeared.
yeah.
So yeah, and that show is definitely not good at making us like characters.
No, they're not, and I guess I need to do a better job of separating the two shows. But they've gone on for so long this year. We've had so many episodes of the Walking Dead
Right,
universe
right.
that I guess it's just, they're starting to collide. Like the worlds are starting to collide. Like the little instances. Obviously, they don't collide when it comes to Rick and Eugene and Rosita
Right.
and Glenn and Abe and all the main characters, Michonne, with the characters of Fear the Walking Dead. That part gets split up.
Yeah.
But whenever you have storylines that sometimes feel similar or
Yes.
familiar,
Yes.
that's when they start to get blurred and the lines get
Hmm.
blurred. So, but enough about that. I just wanted to have a little quick conversation about that because this also goes on our podcast, which is the Ranting Dead, and I wanted to put that out there because we didn't really talk about the ratings because we didn't have an extra podcast, a full discussion for
Right.
last week's episode.
Right.
So I wanted to put that up there up front. But let's get to this week's episode. What did you think about Swear?
I thought I enjoyed it. I liked this other community, and it was kind of nice the way they tied it in to the whole Negan's group killing all their men and their children that were men. Um, that part I liked it, and I liked seeing Tara again. That part was great. But it was a whole episode when it could have been much shorter.
No, no,
I feel so horrible saying that. I just feel bad about it.
well, it's hard for you not to judge it that way. That's the problem is that we waited. If you cut out the 7 month hiatus between season 6 and season 7, we waited 9 weeks to get Tara and Heath's resolution of their story.
Hmm.
That right there is too long. Like,
Right.
come on now. Like, you can't do that in a show where I just feel like that is such a mistake when it comes to writing these characters. I understand that Alana Masterson in real life was pregnant, so obviously a big part of that was that. But 7 months went by.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have at least done something with her. Like even if we got this whole episode the way that it happened, episode 6, whole Tara and Heath episode, that's totally fine. Like I'm not going to sit here and dog a whole Tara and Heath episode because, frankly, for me, this was really entertaining. Like this is maybe more entertaining than last week's episode when you just look at it as an episode as a whole and you
It
throw away all
it
the
was. It was very enjoyable because and we watched it live together. And when it came to the
yes.
end, we were like, "Oh wow, that was it. It's over."
Yeah, I didn't want
Um,
it to be over. I wanted
right.
to I wanted to see what happened next with
Hmm.
Tara right there as she was talking to Rosita. But yeah, you can't ignore the fact that they certainly made a mistake when it came to where they placed this episode. They should have at least sprinkled in a little bit of Tara and Heath, maybe at the front
Hmm.
beginning of season 7, maybe even whenever they had the Kingdom episode. Maybe that's where they kind of had a little bit of slices of just something like
I
Tara and
think
Heath talking in the RV or
right.
something like that.
I think it would have created tension for us to be going, "Oh my God, they don't know, they don't know."
Yeah.
As it was, we just took them completely out of the picture, and we didn't even really care that much that they didn't know. We got to the point of like, okay, just whatever.
Yeah.
I was glad that they did wrap it up in one episode and they didn't drag it out, that they actually brought Tara home.
Yes, I completely agree with you there. Think about it. I wanted to go back to this real quick.
Hmm.
To me, think about how cool it would have been had they kind of sprinkled in Tara and Heath in with that, say that kingdom episode,
Hmm.
and where we leave off is maybe they change up the flow of this episode, the structure of this episode, and they leave that episode in the kingdom, episode 2 of
Uh-huh.
this season. So they leave Tara at the, I don't know, somewhere in that episode where she walks up on this new community and they start shooting at her or something.
Yeah.
Maybe not that much of a cliffhanger, but just like leave it right there, and then they pick up with this episode in episode 6, because I don't know, just it's just very weird. But I'm with you. I am glad that they wrapped up
Hmm.
everything in this episode. I thought overall this episode was really well done.
It,
Like, it
it
was really
was.
fun.
It was fun. It was enjoyable. And again, just the tie-in because we had the question throughout the entirety of it until just the very end. They were going, why are these people? Why are these women all by themselves? Where are the men? Do they hate men? Have they killed the men themselves? What's going on?
Has
Um,
Tara found
yes,
heaven on
exactly.
Earth?
Is this is this an entire lesbian community? And she's like, yes. Um,
Yes.
but to find out that it was Negan's group that killed all their men. That just made it so horribly sad. And it seemed to me like I don't know, like they'd been on the internet and found out the news that Negan had killed quite a few people in Alexandria because she's like, oh yeah, your people are dead, didn't you? And I don't know if that was supposed to be speculation on her part or fact.
I think for me it was more so knowing how brutally they killed all the men in their
Hmm.
community. She was just basically saying, if the way that you screwed up in killing all their people at that satellite compound, that you royally fucked up
Yeah,
because you did not know who you were messing with. You stepped in a big old pile of shit,
which we know
and
was
which,
the truth.
yeah, the complete 100% truth. I
Hmm.
don't think that she knew. I don't think that I don't know, the Pony Express got it
Hmm.
out there to the tree community, but I think that she felt that way, and she was trying to, in her way, even though she was about to kill her ass, she was saving Tara from the heartache of having to go back like she did whenever she comes up on
Well,
Eugene, and Eugene is just heartbroken that he's the one that has
has
to
to right.
reveal
Hmm.
this information, that not only is the niece dead, but Glenn's dead, that Abraham's dead. Think about that with Tara. That's the three main ties
Right.
to everything that we've known of Tara on
Hmm.
the show. Glenn is the one that brought her into the
Hmm.
group after the whole governor fiasco. She falls in love with Denise, and Abraham was a big part of her journeys, because hope
Uh,
you enjoyed the
right,
show,
assholes.
assholes.
Yes. Just watching her go through to that little gift shop and seeing her pick out more things to bring home to Denise because she's so excited to just be going home to see her. It's only been 2 weeks for her, and well, it's only been a couple weeks for everybody,
Yeah.
but it's still. I mean, it feels like forever.
It
Uh,
feels like for a very long time, that's
yes,
for
like
sure.
they've
It's
been
it's
gone a
weird.
really, really long time. Um, I don't know. I just, again, I do, and I hate to say this, because I just don't want to be disloyal, but I do wish they would pay a little more attention to Game of Thrones and the way they structure, so we'd get to see people more often, so it wouldn't have been such a long period of time for us before we see the conclusion of this story.
Yeah, it's weird too, because I could already see somebody in the comment section saying, like, stop watching the show if you don't like to watch the show. It's not that.
Oh God,
We we
did somebody say that?
Yeah, well, I'm sure
Oh,
it's coming. It
oh,
just
okay,
wait a little bit. It's the
yes,
internet.
yeah.
No, it's not that I didn't like this episode. It's not that I haven't liked these individual episodes. It's just, yeah, take a page from Game of Thrones' book. That show has a huge cast, and
Hmm.
they figured it out. They figured out how to go from one storyline to the next. Maybe they only spend 5 minutes here at the beginning of the episode, then they check back in for a few more minutes, and they
Hmm.
check back in again, and then they end the episode with some crazy ass shit
Right,
reveal, and with maybe that character again or something. But they don't typically wait almost 10 months,
right,
you know,
right.
to go from revealing a storyline, unless it's, whether or not Jon Snow lives. But that was just because it ended off at the end of the season, and they picked it right back up at the beginning of the next season. I did want to ask you a question really quickly about the Negan killing all of these men.
Hmm.
Well, or the Saviors killing all of these men. Why would they have done that? That is so out of their MO because they usually only kill one for
Right.
show.
Right.
But in this respect, they killed every one of their men, including the
A
boys
boy.
over
Hmm.
age 10.
Right. I don't know. Was that really, really early on? Was it something that Negan didn't know about? Because it did.
No,
It seemed really odd.
that seems like a Simon operation right there.
Hmm.
That
Exactly.
seems like Simon went rogue and he
Hmm.
went Trevor from Grand Theft
Hmm.
Auto and just killed fucking
Yeah.
everybody.
Hmm.
Because it definitely does not seem like something Negan would do. We see the way that he treats Carl, and I feel like a 10-year-old boy
There's no
is
threat to him.
is
Although
yeah,
at the hilltop, it was a young man that they
but he
beat to
was
death.
16 or 17, so he's right around the same age as Carl. Which again, I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, you hope that that's not a big threat. But then when you think about the fact that you can be 18 and you got to go off and fight in war and stuff,
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
stupid.
18 to 16 is a lot closer than 10 to
Right.
18.
Right.
That's a drastic change. I mean, think about the kids on this TV show Stranger Things. They look tiny. They
I
look like
know.
little tiny
I know.
kids, but they're probably older than 10. They're
Yeah, I think they're
probably
probably 12 and 13, maybe.
yeah, yeah,
Although I think probably we're going to see a huge difference from season one to season two with
yes,
those kids because they're at that like with Carl, um, he's at that age where he can't he can't wear that little T-shirt that had the what was it a little tiger paw or whatever it was that yeah
yeah. From one of Robert Kirkman's comic books. I can't remember. It was like one of the first ones that he did. Yeah, the one that he used to always wear
so
at the beginning of the.
adorable, so
Yeah,
adorable. I love the fact that these women all got away, which is exciting. And now I want to know their backstory. I want to know how they did it.
yeah. These chicks are badass. That
Hmm.
is one thing I really loved. The action in this episode was incredible.
Hmm.
There was multiple badass scenes. The first scene whenever Heath and Tara run into the Sandwalkers,
Yeah.
that was incredible. It was so cool seeing them come out. And I have to point out, yes, this was not the Whispers. There was no nod to the
God,
Whispers at all.
Justin, where did you come up with
Sometimes
that?
sometimes I'll admit it. I have to put out clickbait material to get some people to
Yes,
watch our
exactly.
videos.
Exactly. It's the same video. Just sometimes the titles have to be a little more
Yeah, we've got
intriguing.
to we've got to do something to get people to click on our stuff because think about it, that is the only thing if you're not a subscriber to our channel, you've never seen any of our things that we've done before, that's the only thing you see
Exactly.
to try and for us to get somebody to watch our stuff is that thumbnail, that title,
Right. And we
and
hope that once you get to know us, that, for the majority of you, we hope that you'll like us. Now, we
yeah,
do realize that there's going to be some people that are doing this right now
yeah.
to us.
And I know that, me personally, you personally, we know we're full of shit,
Oh,
but
exactly.
sometimes it's good shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's lovable shit. That's all. It's
Yeah,
just
it
lovable shit.
it is lovable shit.
I can't remember where I was going with that.
Oh, my bad. Well, I was going to talk more about the action.
Oh,
Whenever
yeah.
whenever Tara comes into that town, that was pretty badass. The way that Tara laid that chick out with the
Hmm.
shotgun. Man, I love these ladies. They're badass, but holy crap, they might need to take a few shooting range practices.
They had, at least one of them had a shotgun. I typically, at least in a video game, I don't mess with a shotgun.
No.
That was, yeah, it was, Tara had, God was on her side,
Yes,
definitely.
God was definitely on her side. That little chick Rachel was definitely not on her side. She was a mega biatch for a little
Yeah.
10-year-old girl.
And see, and that's another one. I, okay, so there is a part of me that really wants to see more about this community. I don't like the whole idea of bringing another group in that I only get to see once every 6 months. That part is what bothers me, but they are very interesting.
Or
So,
never again.
yeah.
This is a problem with The Walking Dead, and they've had this problem. I guess I'm trying to think when it started. I feel like it was season 5 is when it started,
Yeah.
and that's when we introduced the hospital, and Beth went off on her little
Hmm.
adventure with Noah. And I mean, Jesus, this is almost like it's a very similar situation, except for the fact that we didn't have Daryl and Carol come in. Nobody else was brought into the fold in this one, and it was self-contained, one episode, as far as we know right now. Maybe they come back in the back half. I don't think they'll be in episode 7 or 8
Right.
at all. But who knows what happened to Grady? We just kept on moving from Grady, and
They could
it's
still be out there.
exactly. But that's the thing, is just we never revisit these communities, which I understand, because in a real zombie apocalypse, I guess maybe you do come into passengers or passerbys, and
Right.
you're out scavenging, and you're like, hey, this is cool, nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Hey,
gonna
this
go look
this is
for some
cool. I'm
stuff.
gonna shoot you and
Yeah,
everybody that is with you, because that's typically, what our reaction is. We kill
yeah,
everybody. But yeah, we may never see this group ever again. But they're, especially Cindy. I loved that character. I would definitely like to see her eventually.
yes, I would as well. I really enjoyed her character. I loved her helping Tara out 3 times.
Hmm.
She is definitely Tara's savior in this
Right.
episode. And she was badass. I really enjoyed her character. It's gonna suck not seeing her. I mean, hopefully we do see her again. Okay, so we got a question while we were doing our live stream from DDA. And DDA asked, was this better than the Morgan bottle episode? And if you forget what DDA is talking about, last season we had episode 4 was all about Morgan. It gave us his backstory on how he learned all those sweet ass,
Hmm. From the
moves.
cheesemaker.
Yeah, from the cheesemaker, from Eastman. I do want to point out before we get into whether or not you think it was a better uh, episode than the Morgan bottle episode. I have to say that the bottle episode gets thrown out there a lot these days. I see a lot of reviewers using this term,
Yeah.
and I know some Walking Dead reviewers that use this term. This is not a bottle episode. Like, that's it is an episode that takes you away from the main cast members,
Hmm.
but a bottle episode is a cheaply produced episode. It's an episode where they're reusing some of the same sets and the same things with like fewer cast members to kind of get by one week. You think about for a show that has like 24 episodes a season or whatnot. This was not a
Okay.
bottle episode in that respect, because
Do,
this was a grand, like, lots of
no, it was
shit was
great.
going crazy, like crazy action, crazy sets, crazy
When
stunts.
do we ever have a bottle episode then? If that's how you describe it, when would we have ever had one in The Walking Dead? I mean, because we don't have that many episodes as it is.
Well, we do. We have a lot. We have 16 episodes, but right now it feels
16.
like we don't have very many because the way that they've been doing these episodes. Um, hmm. I'm trying to think when there would have been a true bottle episode, because I mean, if you look at the definition, it says in episodic television, a bottle episode is produced cheaply and restricted in scope to use as few non-regular cast members, effects, and sets as possible. Bottle episodes are usually shot on sets built for other episodes. We're not going to use this set again. Frequently the main interior sets for a series and consist largely of dialogue and scenes for which no special preparations are needed. They are also commonly used when one script has fallen through and another has to be written at short notice. I think the last time that I could remember that maybe they did a bottle episode was when they were in the prison.
Well, that's what I was
Uh,
thinking. That's the only time that I remember really ever having uh, a set that was like a set.
yeah, well, and they even talked about that. They said that it was really costly for them to create the prison, to
Hmm.
recreate that, and that's some people. I don't know if it's actually came out as definitive truth, but I feel like I saw this, read this, watched this, or listened to this
Dreamt about it.
somewhere. Yeah, I definitely dreamt about it. I mean, we talk about The Walking Dead a lot. I feel like I remember something coming out that they said that they wanted to stay at the prison longer than they did, obviously, in the comic books because it was such an expensive design,
Hmm.
expensive set piece that they had to create. And that's why they did stay at the prison longer because they were like, shit, this is expensive to produce this show already.
Hmm.
So let's stay here a little bit longer. That's the only time I can think about it. And I get where people are saying that this does not feature the regular cast members.
Right.
That's for sure. You know, Tara, that's really it. Heath was in it just for a brief second, and then all new people that we're introduced to. But to me, this, I guess if you want to consider a bottle episode just not containing the regular cast members, then
We
I
have a
guess you
lot of
can.
those.
There's lots of people that aren't regular. The only regular cast members that I'm aware of at this point is really Daryl and Rick, and I guess and Michonne.
Hmm.
Well, okay,
And
Daryl,
Chandler
Rick,
Riggs.
yeah, Daryl, Rick, Michonne, Maggie, and Chandler Riggs. I wouldn't even consider Chandler Riggs a regular cast member. Yes, he's been there for a long time,
Hmm.
but I he's to me still more of a supporting cast member with the amount of storyline that he's been given
Hmm.
in the show. So, but I just wanted to point that out before we get into that. So, do you think that it is a better episode? I would say a better self-contained episode than the Morgan one.
No.
No?
I loved the Morgan episode. I loved that episode so much. And we had to have it to
Yeah.
explain where he became the Zen master. Without it, I mean, we knew him as a crazy guy, and then
Yeah.
suddenly he was, super chill. I loved that episode. I enjoyed this one as much, though, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and again, I don't want to make it seem like I didn't enjoy this episode because I really did. I just, I just don't want to see this keep happening. That's all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think that there's any
They're not
fixing
listening
that.
to me. No, they're not
No,
listening.
they're definitely not listening to the Rantpocalypse
Uh-uh.
reviews, The
Uh,
Walking Dead. I think that just to answer that question for DDA, I did not like this episode as much as that Morgan episode. I thought that Morgan episode was one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead that they've ever had, in
mhm.
my opinion. I just thought it was a beautiful story. It was like really great action parts that happened in that episode. And it, like, I thought the character of Eastman was a fantastic new character. And I like Cindy, but she's not on the level of Eastman
No,
at this point.
you're
There's,
right.
yeah. So,
And we cried with
yeah. Oh,
the introduction of that character in one episode, and we cried for him.
yeah.
And we probably cried for Tabitha as well, I think, his goat.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Poor Tabitha.
yeah.
So no, for me, I didn't like it as much, but overall I really enjoyed this episode. I think the problem is what we've kind of talked about already is just that it was so far removed
Hmm.
from the actions of Negan that it was kind of hard to really for everything to really set in because there was a conversation that one of the two girls that took Tara out, they were supposed to be leading her out to let her go, but ultimately they were leading her out to kill her and basically leave her where that other person had
Yeah.
gotten killed before. And one of them said, well, actually, this might have been the conversation with Cindy and Tara. I can't remember, but the line was, "Nobody is evil. They just decide to forget who they are."
That was
And
Cindy. Yeah.
okay, so that was Cindy. That's
Hmm.
I thought as I was talking about. I'm like, no, this was Cindy, and she was talking about the consequences of your actions. And see, that's the problem. Is like this episode could have been set up very beautifully had it been earlier in the season when we're hearing about like when us as a viewer felt the immediate
Right.
aftermath of those
Right.
consequences. Like to me, you almost could have replaced this episode with episode 2 and it would have worked just the same
Hmm.
because but you can't do that because you can't follow up a premiere with a Terra focused episode. You've got to have like the fireworks going off of
Right.
Shiva,
Right.
Ezekiel, and the kingdom, which I understand. But that episode, when you look at it, it didn't entirely make sense after that episode. If you really wanted to get the hit you
Yeah.
and with the emotions, you really needed to see an episode afterwards of another community being hit by Negan and the consequences of
Right.
their actions. So for me, it would have worked better had this been put earlier in the season, and that's why ultimately I'm gonna have to give this episode 3.5 bacons out of 5.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
Dang.
and it's not the episode's fault. I'm punishing the episode because of the showrunners, the writers, and everybody behind the scenes.
Okay.
Tara was
She
amazing.
was amazing. She was great.
Yes.
And it was good to see her. And I'm going to give this a 4 bacon. So,
Okay. 4 bacons out of 5.
which might, it might be my lowest score. I,
No, it's that's not a bad score. And
yeah.
I don't think 3.5 is a bad score. If I rated the episode as just an episode overall, taking out everything else out of my brain, I'd have to say this is probably like a 4.5 episode because it was fun as hell.
It
It was a
was.
blast.
And I'll enjoy
But
watching it again.
but the meanings and the themes and everything didn't hit as hard because of the placement of the episode.
Hmm.
So that's my argument.
Okay.
So
That's
we
it.
want to
It's
hear.
valid.
Yes, well, I hope so. If not, yeah, you are welcome to scream at me on the internets. So you can email us. It's rantpocalypse@gmail.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave a comment in the comment box down below. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like because that really helps us out. Even if you didn't like it, just leave the like and talk shit about us in the comment box.
Exactly.
But we really appreciate all of you guys watching our videos, and we hope you all have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
Bye.